overseeing America's response to this pandemic. On Monday, we dove into CDC Director Rochelle Walensky's attempts to cover for Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who embarrassed herself last week from the bench, grossly overstating the number of hospitalized children with COVID. Yesterday, we reported about Walensky continuing to tout a discredited study on masking in schools. Today, we have proof that Anthony Fauci and Francis Collins of the National Institutes of Health have been willfully misleading the public on COVID's origins in an effort, it turns out, to protect China and themselves. Documents emerged this week that public health officials did not want us to see. They dodged FOIA requests and other attempts to get them, but House Republicans finally got their hands on emails between Doctors Fauci, Collins, and some of the world's top virologists discussing early on in the pandemic whether COVID-19 came from a lab. It turns out the very officials who dismissed that as a fringe conspiracy theory in the press were being told exactly the opposite by the world's top experts as early as February 2020. They have known from the start about COVID's origins with 11 of the world's top virologists. Emails were exchanged the very next day that make clear several of those advising Fauci and Collins believe this virus came from a lab, not some bat or other animal from a wet market or a cave. They had studied the virus's genetic makeup, you see, and found the insertion of a genetic sequence that makes a virus more transmissible, a furin cleavage site. Physicist Robert Mueller was on our show in June explaining why the furin cleavage site in SARS-CoV-2 is indeed lab origins.
There is a particular part,
genetic sequence that makes a virus more transmissible, a furin cleavage site. Physicist Robert Mueller was on our show in June explaining why the furin cleavage site in SARS-CoV-2 is indeed a smoking gun that proves lab origins.
There is a particular part on what's called the spike. You know, if you saw a picture of the virus, it's a sphere with these spikes coming out. These spikes are what attach to the victim cell. Now, this spike in coronavirus has a particular feature that makes it extremely capable of attaching to a victim cell and injecting its virus particles very quickly. To get in and to get in so quickly and so effectively is to be really infectious. It has this little code in it. And the little code is something that has never been seen in this whole class of coronaviruses that include both SARS, which is famous, and MERS, the Mideast respiratory syndrome. Neither of those had this in it. So this is really something unexpected, unique, and it's inconceivable that this could have happened by accident.
It was efficient. It was highly contagious to humans from the start. And that was a tell. The former director of the CDC, Robert Redfield, backed the lab leak theory publicly last summer, writing in the Wall Street Journal, "What virus comes out of a bat cave and infects humans by the millions? It's not biologically possible." One of those scientists on that call with Fauci and Collins